let you know that Magda has now hit the record button. So if any of you don't want to be seen on camera, then please do switch cameras off now. We do share our videos on our YouTube channel, and you will also be able to see them on our website as well. So I'd like to say a very warm welcome to Penny this morning, warm being the operative word. And really looking forward to it's the summer strawberry. Is it based on summer and strawberries, isn't it, Penny?
It is summer strawberry surprises.
Oh,
so what I've got for you today are four
alliteration.
Well, yes, it sounds good, doesn't it? Summer strawberry surprises. You try that after a few gins. So what I'm going to do today is a medley of desserts. So I'm going to start off with a classic scone. And I know everybody has their own scone recipe, but I thought I would try something rather different. And so I'm going to get up. Would you excuse me if I sit down from time to time? Because
no, please do.
I've rather strained a knee and it's just a bit difficult for me to move. But I'm starting here with my bowl, and I have a whole stack of ingredients lined up here. And I'm actually doubling this recipe because I am making these scones for a summer lunch that I'm giving later on. And they freeze really well. And so I can get them out of the freezer, you know, the day before, let them come back to room temperature. And actually, scones respond extraordinarily well to the gentlest microwave. So I can serve these semi-warm on the day. So into my bowl, there goes my baking powder. And that is followed by the flour. I'm using strong white bread flour. And you know that with bread flour, it's got more gluten in it, so it will just be stronger to make these little scones. And then I've got some sugar that's going in. I'm just whacking it all in. I'm just checking. Yeah, that was the sugar.
And it wasn't salt.
Well, I am just, actually, there was a pinch of salt. I'm just checking that was. Yeah, I think that was the sugar. Right. Well, let's dice with death here. And then I've got the butter. And what I've got with this butter is it's actually been out of the fridge and been at room temperature for a couple of hours now. So it's really nice and soft. And I'm just rubbing that lot together. And I put my baking powder in first. And this has got quite a lot of baking powder. And it's actually, you actually weigh it. It's that much, not just the odd teaspoon. Because that's our main rising agent with this simple dough. So I'm just rubbing in the butter, and because it's nice and soft, it's going in really well. Now I've already got the oven on, gas mark 7, which is 200 and something, can't remember. It'll be on the recipe on my website. So just rubbing that in. Now, when I last made scones before this recipe, I was making them in Australia with a woman who was a prize-winning cook in the CWA, which is the Australian version of the WI. And their recipe was using self-raising flour, cream, and lemonade. And that was it. And it was a bit terrifying for me. And of course, I don't have lemonade around very much, although you can make it with any fizzy drink, including sparkling wine. But I decided I would go to a classic UK recipe and see how that worked. So there's my breadcrumbs of flour, butter, baking powder, and all the rest of it. Now here, I'm just going to clear myself down a bit so I don't get too confused. Somewhere here, somewhere, I have a bowl with 2 beaten eggs in it. Aha, here they are. Yep, that's a finger checking it. So those go, there goes, where's a little well in the middle. 2 eggs have gone in. And then I'm going to use yogurt, which is like the cream, but not quite. So what I need to do is I'm going to put in about 200 grams of yogurt. So I've got the pot here, put onto the scales. There's breathless silence out there. Are you still there?
Yeah, we're all really good.
Yeah, we're all
excited.
awake. Yes.
Riveted.
Writing like that.
I'm really interested because I've not made scones using strong flour and yogurt before, so I'm really intrigued how this.
No, I haven't. I made
I've
some.
done the lemonade one and it was singularly unsuccessful.
Yes. Now, I'm just waiting for my scales to talk to me. Excuse me. I'm going to tear it again. Right, 0.
374 grams.
Right, 374 minus 200. 174 I need to have back in there.
That's right.
Right, there's, I'm just spooning the yogurt out.
So is that just natural yogurt?
Yes, plain yogurt.
Yeah. And does that have to be full fat yogurt? That's another one hard to say.
I have no idea.
No, I just wondered because some recipes, you know, with natural yogurt, you can get like the low fat ones or the fat free. So
I would just go for the real thing.
full Monty.
Yeah, tastes better.
That was 175 grams. How smart is that? Aren't you?
Oh,
With how well I've measured that.
you're
But
awesome.
I might put in a bit more in a second. So I'm going to put my spoon back in there, and I'll probably put, if I want any more, I'll just put, you know, another spoon in. So here are the hands going in. And what I also have left to put in, and I'm just finding it, is, this is the sniff test, then I know what it is. Here I have some dried fruit, about 4 handfuls for this size, a couple of handfuls for the size of the recipe. But I've also, I confess, this fruit has been soaking in brandy for about 6 months. What you could do instead is soak it in orange juice, and I've actually put orange zest in with this fruit as well, because I want it to have a zest of an orange to it. So that's ready to go in. I'm mixing up my dough here. So the dough is the flour, the butter, and all the rest of it, plus that bit of yogurt. And I'm feeling it, and I'm not convinced that I've got enough liquid in here. So I am going to, and I'm using it I'm just doing it by hand. Hands are much easier to wash up and you don't have to put them away. So I'm just going to find that yogurt, and I'm going to put another generous splodge of yogurt in there.
So what kind of texture is it that you could, is it just the fact that it feels drier, Penny? And
It does feel dry. I'm looking for a soft, slightly sticky dough. Now, don't forget, I haven't put in the fruit yet. And it's got a little bit of liquid in there. And I'm using my fingertips. If you think about using a claw, so I'm not getting all this dough into my hand, I'm just using from my sort of first knuckle downwards to mix like a claw. So there's my, it's roughly mixed. I'm throwing in the fruit and the orange zest, scraping that out, and there's just a little bit of liquid at the bottom of that pot
It's all right, Mac.
from the orange and the fruit. So I'm just mixing that together, and I'm not trying to be heavy-handed with this. I'm just lifting it up, turning it over, and it's starting to come together really nicely now. So you can see this is not a long recipe. It takes longer to weigh everything out and get it all ready than actually make it. What I would suggest, if you're making it at home, just weigh your ingredients straight into the bowl. But just be careful about not letting the butter get too close to the baking powder, because as soon as you get some liquid near that baking powder, it'll start activating. So I would always put my baking powder in at the bottom so that the flour sits on top of it and just separates it from the butter while you're just pouring everything in. Right, I've got that dough here, and I'm just going to put it aside, and I'm just going to rinse my fingers, because what I want to do is get out a rolling mat. And I was organised, and I have got a bowl of hot soapy water ready for just this occasion. Right. Now I have here, she said, hopefully, a silicone baking mat, rolling mat, which I find really useful when I can't see, because it means when I've finished all my rolling out, I can scoop it up and put it all into the washing up bowl, rather than trying to manage a lot of mess on the work surface. I'm just moving my scales out of the way because they're used and done.
I like the way that actually rolled around. It actually rolled up around your rolling pin as well.
Absolutely, and it has a little tie on it, so it keeps everything sort of organised for me.
Is that where did you purchase that from?
Present from a friend.
Oh, was it? Oh, lovely. I should look out for that then.
In my box here, I have 50 grams, because this is double the recipe, of spare strong white bread flour. And what I'm doing now is I'm sprinkling half of that over my rolling mat. Then here comes my dough, slop onto the middle of it, okay? Pressing it out just lightly with my fingertips. Here comes the rest of the flour from that box, that 50 grams, that spare flour, and I'm just sprinkling that over the top. Okay? And now I'm putting my hands under the dough. If you can hear that, it's my watch in my pocket talking to me. I'm just going to lift that dough up and fold it over. I'm going to go round and fold it over. What I'm doing is I'm folding in flour as I go, and I'm folding in air as well. So that's just folding over, folding over.
Penny, do you roll it first and then fold over?
No, I just patted it out, and I'm just turning it over, just shaping it. It's just picking up that extra bit of flour that was on the mat. I flipped it over. I'm going to press it out again, just literally fingertips, not giving it a big bash. It's probably at least a couple of finger thicknesses full. Folding it over, and that is it. So that's slightly floury on the outside, and I'm just going to now, I mean, you can roll it out. Whether it's worth getting a rolling pin dirty, I have no idea. You know, it's all
like is it because they say with the scones not to do too much rolling of it, because otherwise it affects the rising, doesn't it?
It does. Now I'm measuring the thickness of this, and I've probably got thicker fingers than most of you, but I reckon that my fingers are about 1 centimetre thick. I've got 2 fingers, and I'm just using that to measure the thickness of this dough. Okay, now what I've got here is a box, one of my famous Lakeland boxes, and I've got some spare flour in it, and I'm just using that to stir around my cutter. And here I have also got a baking sheet on which I have So put some butter. Now, you know, don't go mad with the butter. All you're looking for is using the butter to stick the parchment onto the baking sheet. And I find I have to be really careful with baking parchment, because if I don't cut it neatly and I'm using a gas oven, it starts burning at the edges. So I'm really actually quite careful about making sure the parchment fits the sheet, the baking sheet properly. A little bit of butter, you know, literally just a smear, we'll just stick it to there, so that when I'm taking things in and out of the oven, you know, if I'm not seeing well enough to know that I've got a straight tray, they don't all pour into the bottom of the oven. Right, so I'm going to cut my scones, and this is a straight up and down action, none of this twisting. So put the cutter on the top, press it down, down, up. And if you don't get the scone out in the middle of your cutter, just move the dough around it and pop it to release it from its dough. And don't forget, this is quite a wet dough. And there's my first one on there. And I am desperately keen that I might get 18 out of this, but I'm not at all confident. Dip my cutter back in the flour, onto the dough, press down, out it comes, not twisting it. If you
What
twist
size cutter is it? Is it like a 5 centimetre wide one?
No, this is much smaller. I think, oh gosh, I wouldn't have said, I'm going to hold it up. I have no idea. Probably 3,
Yeah.
bit more than 3. I'm making little dessert scones because
Right.
these scones are going, I'm just going to dip it in flour again, because these scones are going to go with other things on the plate.
Yes.
I don't want them to be too big. And as I sit here taking these off, just putting them on my tray, I'll talk to you about the other things I'm going to make, and I'll just show you. We're going to make strawberries au cordon bleu in a moment. Can I say, this is the easiest, quickest strawberry dessert you can make. And if you get rather uninspiring, tasteless, non-English strawberries from the supermarket or wherever, this really perks them up. So all we're going to do is dress them with orange juice, sugar, Cointreau, and you let them macerate in that liquid, and they completely change. They're much, much more interesting. The other thing, so I'm doing a sort of strawberry and orange combination for this, all these desserts. So these scones have got orange zest in them, along with the dried fruit. The cordon bleu strawberries have got orange juice and orange zest in them. Right, there's my first lot done. I'm just bringing this dough back together again. I've got another tray ready, but whether I'm going to make enough, I'm not sure at all. I'm getting down to the scraplets of this scone mix, cutting out more.
The very last one tends to be just for me is the taster. I call it the taster one because it doesn't look like anything like a scone. But yes, most definitely, it's the perks of baking them, isn't it?
Yes, you get the misshapen one.
Yeah, at the end.
Yeah. Right, I think that one is so, the last bits I've actually put the ring around it, and I'm just shaping it to the ring. Right, somewhere I had my bowl which I had the eggs in. Thank you. And I have a spare egg somewhere. This is the fun of doing it with everybody watching me not find things. Spare egg.
We totally understand, because you're not alone in that Penny.
There's the egg. Right. Now I might get, because I'm rushing a bit to show you all of this, I might get Alan to do this. So that is the same egg bowl I was using earlier, in which I beat the eggs up. No, that's okay. And I'm using the brush to actually beat this egg. And so I'm going to get Alan, and this is, technical for boys.
Penny, is that all 3 eggs you've put in there?
I put 2 eggs into the mix
Yeah.
because I was doubling up the mix from the recipe, the ingredients. And then this is the 3rd egg. This is a spare egg. And all he's going to do is brush the very top of each of these scones.
Right.
If you let it dribble down the sides, it will stop the scone rising as much as it can. So, my lovely, can you pop that, just brush the top? Okay. Let me move on then to this strawberries cordon bleu.
To go in the oven when they're done.
Yep, for 12 minutes, please. I'm actually going to use some creme fraiche in this, but you could make, if you're mad, you can, make your own creme pâtissière. I'm only using about a teaspoonful of creme fraiche, and I'm putting it into. This is me using my fingers because I can't actually see it. So I'm just spreading that gently around, and you'll notice that I haven't licked my fingers or done anything since I washed them last. So I'm just spreading creme fraiche. You could have thick double creme pâtissière. You want something that just gives you a little bit of a moist bottom, really. And I think that may be the last time I use that phrase, moist bottom. Today.
That's better than soggy bottom.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what
Nobody wants a soggy bottom.
these tarts are not soggy. So what I've got here is somewhere a box of strawberries and a knife. And this is the fun and game. Here's my knife. So I'm just going to slice or chop bits of strawberries into my tart bottom. I wouldn't put any more sugar in here because I think there's sugar in the pastry. I wouldn't say that the pastry makes a massive mouth flavor difference, but what it does do, if you just put ordinary short crust pastry in there, something that wasn't sweet and wasn't flavored with orange, you would feel that flavor of blandness. Whereas this pastry is just going slightly better with the dessert. Around the edges, it's quite crispy and biscuit-like, whereas on the top, in the middle, as I said, it's going to be firm and it's going to manage this bit of liquid we've put in here. Now, I wouldn't make these a long time before I was serving them. If you're going to have one of those very long, lazy lunches where you're all sitting around for a couple of hours, they might start going a bit soggier. But otherwise, how easy is this? How simple is that? Now, I'm just having a feel with my hands. Right, that is pretty fullish. What's that? A couple of strawberries in there. And now I have my homemade freezer strawberry jam. And this is a completely different thing. And I'm not trying to share my recipe with you at the moment because I'm not desperately happy with it. But I will show you this jam. Just get another spoon. Now, this jam here, it's come out of the fridge. And actually, before that, it was in the freezer. And I'm just got a spoonful of it, trying to find the tart. This is a good bit for blind people. Trying to move one sticky thing onto another sticky thing, spread it out vaguely neatly. And I am just using this jam on the top. Now, when I made this jam, all I did was chop up the strawberries, slightly crush them, macerate them in lemon juice with some sugar, and then I added neat pectin, boiled up with a little water. And then I mixed it all together, stirred it for 3 minutes. And I'm just going to, I can't show you the texture, but I have a blob of strawberry jam sitting on my finger. It is not running off. It is firm and blobby. What more can I say? I think it will last for about 2-3 weeks in the fridge. It will last allegedly up to a year in the freezer. The strawberries are not cooked, so it tastes incredibly fresh. It's just a wonderful jam. I do commend a bit of orange zest in it. And actually, I have to confess, I found some in the freezer that must have been 10 years old, and it was delicious. So, you know, if you want a really simple strawberry jam without boiling up lots of hot sugar, this is a great way of doing it. I'm going to try it again. When I get the recipe better, I'll pop it on my website.
I'd be interested in that one, because like you
Yes.
say, it could be, when you boil it, obviously sugar gets extremely hot, isn't
Yes.
it? So
Yes.
for you to have a recipe that doesn't involve boiling sugar, it's very interesting, that one, Penny.
Mm.
Yeah.
And they've always
it's a
come
mixed
out rather
one.
runny as well when I've made strawberry jam.
Yes. No, because strawberries don't have any pectin in them. Very, very little. So
Yeah.
on that plate now, I don't know whether you won't be able to see it, but on this plate, I have a little strawberry tartlet. So like that nice sweet orange pastry filled with little creme fraiche, topped with fresh raspberries, topped with a fresh strawberry jam glaze. So there's a little dessert all by itself.
Looks delicious. I've got my mouth watering, Penny.
Right, now let's just do this strawberries cordon bleu. You've heard me talking about how I've used lots of orange with these strawberries, because that's a really good combination. And somewhere, I'm just going to get another knife. All I'm doing, these strawberries, I've hulled them, which I use a potato peeler, the sharp, you know, the pointy end of a potato peeler. Just take out the little hard bit at the top of the strawberry where the green bit is attached. And I'm just cutting these into probably thirds lengthwise. And I'm putting them into the juice of a couple of oranges rather, juice of a couple of oranges, the zest of the orange. And I'm just going to let these sit in this lot. And this will really cheer up, you know, shop-bought strawberries when they're out of season. At the moment, these are nice English strawberries, picked locally, so they're a nice quality. But if you want to do something at another time of year when you're relying on imported strawberries, this might be quite a good idea. And yep, I'm going to put more in. You can feel the strawberries are starting to float in the liquid. So it's going to have a good balance of fruit to liquid. Now I'm going to use a Cointreau, but any good orange flavored liqueur will do. So there's my strawberries chopped up in there. I have here my little handy Cointreau decanter, and I want you to notice the care I take. Now, sorry, forgive me, I'm sniffing it because I can't see. I have to always check what I'm putting into things. So that smells like Cointreau. And
You always
really
double check and have a little sip.
Yeah. That was measured. Did you hear that measuring?
Yes, slop, slop.
Stop. Okay.
Oh. Alexa, stop.
Alan, on the scones done?
Don't know.
Oven off, scones out.
Yeah, mine are done.
Now, I've decided that I want just a bit of sugar in this, and I think that goes entirely. This is in This is in the strawberries. So I'm putting in, gosh, a tablespoon. Don't go mad. Just put it in as you know, a little bit at a time, because you don't want this over sweet. There is, Alan, can you just come and give me a hand first? Now, because these scones have only just come out of the oven, I'm not going to try and split them and put jam and all the rest of it in there. But here, what is this? Right, here is this dessert coming up. So that bowl of strawberries and Cointreau, strawberries cordon bleu, you can make it beforehand, cover it, put it in the fridge. Then here we are, I've got a plate, and on that plate, I've got my little tart, some spills from jam. I'm going to eat those. And can I have one of the scones, please? It's hot.
Yeah, straight in there. Look at
Right.
it. Wow, that's a picture. What a picture.
There's a scone on here. If they'd been made a bit earlier, I'd have split it, put on my clotted cream and some of that same strawberry jam. And there you have a trio of desserts. And of course, what we could serve with that is the orange ice cream.
Wow. That
How
looks
do you eat that?
absolutely
amazing.
delicious.
Can I say that if you went to a restaurant,
Mm.
you're paying a lot of money for something like this. And I'm trying to show you that you can make this just as easy at home. Most of it you can prepare beforehand. It's just putting it all together and serving it out. How's that?
Very good.
Sounds
Yeah.
lovely.
And you,
What height did your scones rise to, Penny?
not very much, not very much. I'm putting my, yeah, I wouldn't have said that. I don't know whether this is one of the tail ends, but what we found is that they were incredibly light inside. So they weren't bouncing up like mad things. They were very light on the inside. Not heavy, you couldn't break it.
So, can I ask a question about this comp? Would you put this inside with the scones, or what do you do?
No, I've served the compote, the
Oh, you have?
cordon bleu in a little bowl.
Oh, I see.
On the plate.
Yes.
Also on the plate is the little tart.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I've got the scone, which I would
I've got the
split.
scones. Yeah.
Yep. And then I was feeling very generous.
Oh, I see.
Scoop of the orange ice cream in with the strawberries cordon bleu.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
So, I know I'm in a litter of mess here. I've been doing so much so quickly. But
Penny, you said about measuring out the baking powder. How much did you actually use? I know you did a double.
It said 9 grams.
18 grams. I put it in the ingredients. I'll put it on the website. But,
It was 9 grams.
9 grams.
Oh, okay, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not much.
It's not a small amount, but they really are nice and fluffy.
Yeah.
I must admit, when I saw you handling the dough, it did look fluffy, actually.
Yes.
And I was going to ask what the texture is, because scones can be quite
Dense,
not fluffy.
dodgy, can't they?
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for, Sabrina. Thank you.
Well done. Right then.
So what do you think? You know how
Yes.
to make pastry? With a tartlet, dead easy, isn't it? Just completely easy. Strawberry cordon bleu, dead easy. Just throw things together. The ice cream, you already know how to make. And these little silly scones, well, what
I think they're cool.
no, nothing difficult, is there?
Really good.
I'm
Thank
definitely
you.
going to have a go at the sweet
eat the
water
strawberry.
pastry. I've not ever thought to do that, so yeah, I'm going to give that a go.
What are we doing next time?
I think what I'd like to suggest is that perhaps we have a break for the summer.
Yeah.
And what I would really welcome from all of you, and particularly you lot, because you've been so loyal and faithful and supportive, I would be really grateful for your ideas about what we could do in the future. And that doesn't necessarily mean a dish. It means, what do you find difficult? And how can we find ways of making it easier for when you can't see? What would really help you in the kitchen? That's okay.
That's a challenge.
Yeah, well, if you find everything easy in the kitchen, you could do the next one.
No, I've learnt so much from you. I know I'm only partially sighted, but even so, I've learnt so much.
Thank you. I just hope you actually cook some of it.
Oh,
And
yes, I do. I
Yes.
do.
And that's, you know, I think lots of people who can see don't always understand the difficulties of managing in a kitchen
Absolutely.
and doing the things that perhaps we always used to do, and now we have to find new ways of doing them. So I would be grateful to you for your suggestions. Now, I don't know how Magda or Debbie can collect those, but you can always email me. And, you know, I just love to hear from you, actually. You know,
Yes,
love
so
to hear
that's
what
what
you're
we
doing.
can organise, is that obviously where people register for these sessions, we will have an email address, so we will be able to reach out to everybody. But obviously the other alternative is to email in our info@opensight.org.uk, and that way then we can pass them through to Penny. Unless, Penny, your email off the top of your head, you're welcome to share, or we can share on your behalf.
Yes, Penny
Yeah.
at lands.co.uk.
Yes.
Very happy. Everybody can have it. Everybody can share it. It's laylands.co.uk. Penny, as in a bad one.
No, a lovely Penny, a good Penny.
What I would like you also to think about is winding up for Christmas.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, not yet.
Making my Christmas cakes, certainly getting the fruit into soak. Soon I'll be making mincemeat in the autumn, Christmas mincemeat, all those sorts of things. So think about what is really difficult for you at Christmas, and let's think about how together we can find a way of making it easier and more manageable. How's that?
Definitely. And I think that if there's anybody that's missed any of the sessions that we've run with Penny, they're on our YouTube channel, and as well as no doubt on Penny's website. But if you would like us to email you all the links so that you can watch them again, because I know Penny has covered the mincemeat, haven't you, Penny, and Christmas cake. So that is something that we'd be more than willing to share. So when you drop us an email, if you'd like to have all those links, because there will be a lot, because Penny's been doing it a couple of years or so now, isn't it, Penny? So there's
2.5 years.
plenty of recipes that we can share, and Penny's got more on her website as well.
Yeah, if you go onto my website, which is www.pennymelvillebrown, all one word, .com, on there's a Christmas recipe booklet, for example, which has got all the recipes that we did in the first year with Open Sight, and it's got links to all the videos and some other videos as well. So and actually, you know, just download it, it's all free. So, you know, there you go.
Thank you.
Okay.
So lovely. Thank you once again, Penny, and Alan as well, for a fantastic session. And I'm very much a strawberry person, so I will be giving these recipes a good go. So I'm looking forward to it. So once again, thanks, Penny. You take care and enjoy your summer.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.